If Cinderella's shoe fit perfectly, then why did it fall off when she ran? Because magic users are tricksy. The reason the glass slipper in Cinderella didn't turn back to a regular slipper, or disappear, at midnight is because the fairy godmother was messing with us. Her main goal was to set Cinderella up for life, and to do that she needed a way for the prince to find her. She could easily have magicked Cinderella into the life she wanted, arbitrary midnight deadline be damned, but instead the fairy godmother decided to make the prince want her for her own qualities and to prove his love by tracking Cinderella down. To do that, she had to make sure that something was left behind, so she popped that little glass some bitch off so the prince would have a lead to follow. We are all puppets in the hands of the fairy godmother. I was going to say, the real question is, why didn't the glass slipper disappear or turn back to a normal dusty shoe at midnight along with everything else? This answer answers all the questions. Another good argument for the slippers not turning back disappearing is because the fairy godmother didn't magic them into existence like everything else, she just gave them to her after the magic happened as a final touch. So the slippers were never magic, they were just glass slippers. If I wore glass shoes, I'd hope they're magic. Can you imagine if they break while you're in them? Does the stiletto become a dagger to your heel in that event? And as for the final edition, she cried, she'd magic the dress and the necklace with pride, the horses were ready, the carriage, complete dash, I give you these slippers I found in the street. Oh thank you dear fairy. She cried out with glee, the horses and dress are all stunning, you see, I just have one worry, one question for you, but why would you want me impaled on my shoe? Too many questions, said the fairy annoyed, with all of that stuff you should be overjoyed. Now load up those horses. Then shut up and ride. Or I'll make sure the prince makes your mother his bride. Chick was running in heels, I can see that happening to anyone. Glass Heels editing to boost a well-written article about the word ver shared by Shrapnel below writing in margins.weebly.com. And slippery like my phone. But not as fragile. Gorilla Glass Slippers. Scratches at a level 6 with deeper grooves at a level 7. But glass is glass, and glass will break. The writer said it was glass, but it was actually a synthetic material beyond the grasp of the original audience. Transparent aluminum. Cinderella's fairy godmother must have been surnamed McCoy. You mean Scotty? Computer? Computer? Picks up computer mouse. Hello, computer. She had sweaty feet from dancing all night and then ran down the stairs. Do you think the prince took a sniff of that funk when he got the glass shoe? It's glass so it doesn't absorb the sweat. Just sits on the surface to bloom. Why you think he was trying so hard to find her? He was deaf a foot guy. What you mean the guy who couldn't remember what his date's face looked like so he came up with an excuse to examine the feet of every single woman in the kingdom? Nah, not a foot guy at all. I will no longer be able to watch that movie without thinking of this. In the original Cinderella story, the prince spreads pitch on the stairs to trap her. Her shoe gets stuck and she takes it off to get away. Edit, here is a video of Anna Kendrick playing Cinderella in Into the Woods, an extraordinary musical by Sondheim, getting stuck in pitch and singing about it. Anna Kendrick getting stuck in pitch, perfect. Edit, I want to thank everyone for the awards. There are too many people to thank. You know, I grew up an orphan in South Boston. I bounced around from foster home to foster home and even some abusive situations. I was in and out of juvie. As an adult I went from one job to the next without really a path in life. It always seemed like I had a gift for learning though. Then I got a job as an overnight janitor at MIT. One night, while cleaning, I saw a math problem on the chalkboard and I solved it. Luckily, the professor that put it on the board saw my talents and made a deal to let me work with him to avoid jail time for assaulting an officer. Unfortunately, I also had to go to therapy. I begrudgingly did his math equations and spent as much time avoiding therapy as possible. Then I met Sean. He changed my life. He was a therapist from Southie, just like me. I shrugged him off at first, but he didn't give up on me like everyone else. He helped me find my path in life and even get through my issues with seeing a girl. He was the father I never had. It seems as though I helped out Sean as well. Anyway, I want everyone to know that, if this Southside orphan can earn an award, anyone can. I'll leave it at that because, I gotta go see about a girl. Because it was a perfect fit. If it were too tight, maybe it'd have stayed on. Yeah, it fit like a shoe, not like a glove. I don't think anyone could wear a shoe that fits like a glove. Maybe a monkey. Those toe shoes were literally in style for a few years and are still available. In the Finnish version, the prince slathered tar on the stairs to try to get her stuck. Woo romance. Woo. BC shoes don't encase themselves around your foot never to be taken off again. They just fit lol. Flint Lockwood would like to speak with you. Dang, that's a good movie. Glass slippers don't breathe. Eventually, her feet got so sweaty they fell off. Must have looked really good from outside. Directly looking at someone's sweaty naked feet pressed against glass. I imagine they are like wearing those 90s jelly shoes, nothing but sweat, red feet, and bleeding blisters. Heels be doing that sometimes. Because that's the duckin' plot. It's also the plot that the only way for the prince to identify that woman he danced with at the ball was to try this shoe on all the women, some of whom probably wear the same size shoe. He would have married the first woman whose foot was the same size, rather than chat a bit to see if they click like they did at the ball, or just look at her face or something. The shoe was made by a fairy godmother who wanted the best for Cinderella and was willing to use magic to get it done. The shoe fell off for the same reason it didn't turn back into some peasant shoe, the fairy godmother willed it that way. Because after the dance her foot was swimming in a puddle of sweat. Turns out glass is not a very good footwear material. Ever tried running down the stairs in heels? Never successfully. Maybe because she was running with heels on. No matter how well they fit, trying to run in them can always be a little problematic. Same reason Dorothy lost her slippers over the deadly desert when she left Oz. So the story could happen. The other bit I found problematic in Cinderella was that when she turned up at the ball, everyone thought she was a foreign princess. When the royal party went looking for her the next day, they searched the homes within the kingdom. If she was a foreign princess, wouldn't she have left the kingdom? Or they should have looked at the hotels at the very least. Imagine a princess living in an Airbnb. Not sure, but anybody else wondering how it didn't disappear unlike the rest of her outfit party package from the godmother? The shoes were an actual artifact rather than a conjured item. Fairies are pretty sneaky. But yeah, I've wondered that before. My question is, what will the godmother take in recompense? I hear they like firstborn children. For the same reasons that have been said on the other 927 posts about this. This feels like an Rush Hour Thoughts, not an AskReddit. There have been a bunch of those lately. AskReddit has really gone to shit since COVID started. Because shoes are made so the foot can slip in and slip out. Fitting perfectly doesn't mean her foot can't come out of the shoe. It was a slipper. We're all familiar with slippers, right? Perfect fit is a relative term. Hell, fit is a relative term for slippers. They create a space in which part of a foot can occupy, in much the same way as part of a foot can occupy a bucket or an empty Kleenex box. We're not exactly talking about orthopedic masterpieces here. I like to think she took it off on purpose. Girl, she been dancing all night, her feet are sweaty and glass is slippy. Because the plotline fits better than the shoe. They were glass slippers, not Nike or Reebok. They're glass slippers with heels made by an elderly fairy who hasn't demonstrated any real skill in shoemaking. What the hell do you think happens when you run in them? Just saw a guy get punched so hard the other day his shoes literally came off. Damnedest thing to watch. Same with car crashes. Shoes come off easy even when they fit well.